in that case, yes, I think it's time I shall formally introduce Arjun Asthanaji. Arjun Asthanaji is with us. Of course, dear participants and dear students, though you're familiar with Arjun Asthanaji for creative practices, uh, quite like what you're going to take up in future. So Arjun is BTech in Mechanical Engineering from NIT Warangal 2008, 2012. Just a little senior to you. Okay, so a freelance music composer and founder of Mystic Alankar, a popular music production studio and online store for music producers and artists. Independent music artists making pop music with an Indian flavor. That's so nice. And you can see the contact, and you can easily contact Arjun on YouTube and Instagram at the rate Arjun.istan. With this introduction, definitely, I'll hand over, the communication and the talk to Arjun so that Arjun can take on and the students can communicate equally. Uh,
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Welcome,
Um,
Arjun, to the session.
Thank you so much. Now we'll start. This was like a very formal introduction, and now I just wanted to share behind the scenes what uh, about my introduction, because from a student perspective, I really feel the student perspective a lot, because I was also a student just a few years ago, and also in my job also we keep learning. Like in music, there's no end to learning, right? So we keep learning from each other and all that. So um, I just want to share a few years ago how things were in my life, so that maybe you could like relate to some of these things and fix some of these things earlier than me. It took me like 6 7 years to fix many of these things, but now as things go, it gets smoother and smoother. So like in the beginning, as you can see, like I've written there that at every stage of my life I was confused. I was extremely shy and had lots of anxiety issues. I used to feel like if someone told me something, then I used to keep thinking about the same thing for days. And sometimes a week used to pass and I'm just, you know, thinking within myself. I used to not really react outside because I was very shy, but I used to, keep it within myself and just sulk within myself many times. So, I had all these kind of issues, and um, I was very shy because of this, because I used to care too much about what other people would think about me, other people's opinions about me. So I was introduced to UHV, and I was exploring some of these things, but not really in that much detail, just in a brief way, because I was not really sure if this is going to help or not, and that was the thinking at that time. And at that time, one of the proposals really struck when I was in third year and fourth year of college, mostly in final year. It struck about prosperity. So, like in UHV, the description of prosperity is not being satisfied with what you have, but it's about the feeling of having more than required. So that feeling is it's a feeling, right? It's not related to how much you actually have. So that really opened my eye about what exactly prosperity means. Like it's more to do with the feeling of having more than required. It's not really about how much you have. So once I felt this, then I felt like, okay, you need money, of course. You need to live comfortably. You need money, but how much do you need, and what do you need it for? So these kind of questions started coming in my mind, and I was slowly like getting the hang of this whole concept. So I was still confused. I was still confused about what my purpose of life is, and what am I supposed to do here. Like, that was still there, but I was I was at least a little more. I at least got this one thing that uh, you don't need that much. You need money to live comfortably, but there's a cap which you can put on it, and you can set your own cap. So this gave me a lot of comfort, and this gave me a lot of freedom. So at that time, uh, I was just finishing college, and then I got a job also. I got a Tata job, which is considered a good job also after mechanical engineering. So I did that job also for 7 or 8 months. But after that, I was like, it it wasn't very satisfying for me somehow. And then I changed job. I went to another job, worked there for another 4 months, and then I used to feel like I don't fit in anywhere. I felt like engineering itself may not be for me, and I thought like music is something which I can do well. So why not make a studio, or why not do something to earn a good living with that? So at that time, that's what happened then. Studio was made, and parent support was always there at that time. I mean, it's always been there. I'm just saying at that time it was especially very noticeable because uh, in that confusion stage and all that, you have lots of uh, depression kind of thoughts, right? So at that time, it was a very critical phase. Like I was very vulnerable, or you can say that way. So at that time, this studio thing happened, and it started very small. We started taking some small projects and small things, and then slowly bigger artists came, and then a short film started, then TV ads started, and then it kept going like that because the work was good. People used to keep coming back, and things kept going from there. So I kept learning the skills also on the job. So that's why like I'm always a student. I feel like I'm always a student. Even now I'm seeing tutorials on YouTube how to do this, how to do that. So you feel like you're always in that student kind of phase. So that's how that phase was. And in September 2020, which is just a few months ago, we launched this online store. It's hardly a few months old, and there's another person working with me, and then we're hiring some people to make some of the digital products for the store, and all that is happening. So I could never have imagined all this stuff a couple of years back, because I was like a totally different kind of person. I didn't have any confidence to do any of these kind of things, and even talking to people, getting these deals and doing all this stuff, it was like I thought I can't do any of this kind of stuff. And then in 2019, I got a little more into making my own music, because I thought I'll share this kind of stuff with people. I'll share thoughts with people through music. So that was the idea. That was when I started releasing music videos on YouTube. And during this phase, I was still exploring. I'm always exploring because there's no end to the exploring, right? Like, even if you see the proposals, the UHP proposals, there's so much depth in each thing. And once you go deeper and deeper, you realize that you don't know much about it. You're just exploring. So you're always exploring. And so the idea is now to use music to express all this stuff. So in your creative practice sessions also, it's like if you can use music or dance or drama or painting or something to express your feelings, then it gives you a lot of satisfaction that you're able to say something which you might not have the guts to say otherwise, or you might not, you might not know how to say it also otherwise. There's so many things which you can't say through words, but through paintings and through music, it just clicks. Something just clicks for the other person, for who you're telling. So that's how this happened. And always say that the family was always supportive, and even if there are differences of opinion, I felt like we have one common goal. And we might do it through other means, like through different means, like through education or through health or through music, as long as I mean, it's like we're always doing it with different skills, but at the same time we're having the same kind of goal. So that makes it really comfortable within the family. So then there are no fights, no arguments, nothing happens like that, because it's all very comfortable, and the understanding between each person in the family is so smooth that that getting angry kind of stuff never happens now. I mean, it's close to zero. It used to happen like once or twice in a month. Some small issue, small thing used to happen. Used to get a little upset here and there. But then now you see, it's much smoother, because all of us have been working on these proposals and been exploring, been keeping the awareness of things. So within the family, at least, it's become more comfortable. And our interaction with other people also, it's more comfortable than before, because of all these inputs from UHV, and because of meditation, yoga, all this together helps in all this. Um, so this I just wanted to tell people, especially, that if you're suffering from stuff like depression and anxiety, then there is a way out. And if you just pay a little bit of attention on what is going on inside the mind, then all this can be solved, and like the life after that can be really beautiful. So that's what I wanted to say here. And the shift is a slow process, so it does take time. Like for me, it took 6 7 years, but I just wanted to share all this just so that it might take you less time. Because if it takes you less time, it'll give me a lot of satisfaction, because it'll feel like this session was worth it, maybe. So like that. And in the last line, I just wrote that it's almost as if there were cobwebs in my mind, and I'm slowly cleaning them up, because it's like there are so many thoughts and so many things going around in the mind, and once you start looking at each one of them, then you realize whether you need to think of that or not. You don't. If you don't need it, you just throw it out. Earlier, it's it was hard to even throw out stuff. Like if there's a thought coming, then it used to keep coming, and I wasn't able to do anything about it. But now it's like if a thought is coming, you just evaluate it. Is it right for you? Is it not right for you? If it's not right, you just try to throw it out. It takes maybe a few minutes, few hours, it might take sometimes, but then you try to throw it out, it goes out now. So that feels much more comfortable, because you have much more open space then within your mind. And now we can take questions on UHV and creative practices. So that was all I wanted to say from my side about, I don't want to focus too much on myself. I want to focus more on how my journey can help you. So with that, I'll close this part of it. And now just wanted to discuss and take any kind of questions or feedback or comments about UHV or creative practices either. Yeah. So questions, if any. There are some hands raised.
Yes, I am passing on the mic and clicking the unmute option as well. Let's see. Yes,
Okay.
Anand Raj.
Yes, ma'am. Uh,
Very
Good
well.
evening, sir. Sir, my name is Anand Raj and I am from Shivali College of Engineering. Sir, my question is that, sir, sometimes we don't really know what is it that has caused us depression, and so we don't really know how to express it, sir. So, what to do about it? Because you don't really know what has caused it to you.
Yeah, so it could be many things actually. That in the end, only you'll know actually what is causing it. But to know, you can just try to be aware of your thoughts. Like what is going on in your thoughts, that is of primary importance. I mean, if you want to try to see what is causing it. So, first try to figure out what you're thinking about. What
Okay.
is the thought which is recurring, which is going on, coming again and again. And once you find that, then you'll see which of those thoughts are really causing the problem. And then when you find those thoughts, then you go to the root of that. Like go to the root of why those thoughts are coming. Those thoughts must be based on some desire or some, something behind that must be there. So then you try to see what that was. And then once you get that desire, then you try to link that with your natural acceptance. Is that naturally acceptable for you or no? If that desire is not naturally acceptable for you, then you know that that is the problem. That desire is your problem. And to fix that, you have to see what is motivating that desire. Is it coming because of preconditioning, sensation, or from your natural acceptance? Like you just explore where it's coming from, and
Okay.
after that you'll see where it's coming from. And then if it's coming from preconditioning, then reevaluate that preconditioning. If it's coming from sensation, then if it's coming from sensation or preconditioning, actually sometimes it is hard to resolve these things. So then you take help of things like meditation and yoga, because um, they can do certain things which go a little bit beyond logic. So your logic can go only till some point, and after that you have to use some other methods to clear the things completely.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So one
Thank you.
more question I have to ask.
Yeah.
So my question is that, sir, how to communicate about your depression, sir? Because when you communicate about your depression to your family members, sometimes they don't understand what is it. Don't take it lightly. They take it lightly, sir. So how to express to them that is not something very simple, or we should let it go. That's my question, sir.
Um yeah, it can be hard to express, but then um, you can maybe find a creative way, like through arts, these kind of practices, or else you can try to say it in a way that will move them, in the sense what is important for them. You see that first. If you show them something which is important for them, then they will pay more attention to it. So you can probably explore what the like how to say this through a way which is important for them. I
Okay,
don't
sir.
know if that's clear, but I'm trying to say that for the parents, certain things are very important, right? So
Yes, sir.
try to link your thing with that, and try to um, bring it in that narrow field, and then express. So then they'll be more open to listen. That's one thing. And the second thing is that if you are more responsible within the family, and you're working as one cohesive unit, then everybody's concerns will be addressed automatically. That's one more thing.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Arjun ji, namaste. This is Umesh.
Namaste.
Yeah, Niharika has a question for you on the YouTube live. I'll read that question for you.
Sure.
I want to ask that were you here even if your family didn't support you like they did, or you would continue your previous job?
Um, Actually, to be honest, the situation was like this, that I was in this Tata job, and job was actually very good. There was nothing wrong with the job, but I was not able to, like, as a person, I'm a very kind of, I like to have freedom. I don't like rules and all that. So um, I wanted to be more free. And like, I had asked for Diwali vacation for a few days, 1 week and all. They didn't give. I still went for vacation. I used to do things like that. So at some point, uh, I felt like I don't want to continue. I definitely don't want to continue. And because of all these other issues, also this anxiety and this tension and all these things, because of all this, I was also kind of um, very frustrated. So at that time, I was even considering suicide, for that matter. And that was many years back. But I was considering that also as a possibility. And of course, I didn't do that. But I went till the top of the building, but I didn't do anything after that. And I called my parents and I said that I want to quit the job, and I'm going to quit. Whatever happens, I'm going to quit. And I've thought about what I'm going to do also, because I want to quit and I want to do something else. I'm just not going to quit and not do anything, because I will do music. That was decided. And how to do all that was not known. I had no idea of how we can do it and what to do next, and I had no idea of all this. But then I definitely knew that I want to do music, because that is one skill that I have already, and I'm good at that also, and it gives me satisfaction also, and plus my mood will be also much better than working in that environment, and all these thoughts were there together. So in a nutshell, this is what happened. So um, I never really thought of the possibility of of it any other way, because it happened only this way.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I am Niharika from Shivali College of Engineering, Dehradun. I asked this question from you on YouTube. So I just wanted to ask that if my parents would not let me do something which I want to do in future, like if I if I want to be an engineer, and and if I would want to pursue my career as a businesswoman. Like, and if they deny for that, what would I do?
I think you
Because my
can make a
interest is more
balance.
in
You can make a balance. Like even I had figured in third year of engineering that I don't want to do engineering, but then a discussion happened at home, and the question was whether I should continue or not. Like after 3 years of engineering, should I do the final year and then finish, get a degree, and then do something else, or should I just leave it after 3 years? That was the question that I had. So at that time, I myself decided, like we spoke at home and all, and then I myself decided that okay, 3 years are over, we'll do one more year and we'll finish it. So I finished it. But if you haven't started yet and you are very sure of doing something else and you have the full confidence to do it, then I mean it's totally your choice of how you go ahead. Like so, I can't say this is right or that is right, because in the end it depends on you mostly, only actually. Because if it is something where you think of doing it but then you don't continue it, you have to stick to it, right? So if you want to become a businesswoman, then you have to stick to that field. You can't just say that okay, it didn't work in the next 2 years, if it doesn't work then I'll shift to something else, then if that doesn't work I'll shift to something else. That can't
No,
be
so
the
in my
approach.
case, it's like that. I want to qualify CAT examination, but my parents want me to qualify GATE examination, and we always have argument like on this topic. No, I want to do CAT, and they say no. When then why had you choose engineering field? You had to go for BBA then, like that.
Yeah, so I mean, like, go to the next step. What happens after the CAT or the GATE exam, and
Yes,
see like 10 years ahead and see like where you want to be at, and you just outweigh the pros and cons, and you try to see what is really going to work best. And whatever works best, you have to have a mutual discussion, mutual like understanding with the family and everything, and then make the decision. So even though there'll be differences of opinions, you have to come to one conclusion, which everyone is happy with. That is the best way out. So it
yeah,
might be difficult. It's not always easy, but you have to be very sure of it at some point that you're going to continue this field for at least 10 years, right?
yes, sir. Thank you so much. It was great interacting with you, actually.
Yeah, thank you.
Good
There is
evening,
another
Bhaiya. I have a
question on the
question.
YouTube. Farsana Shenawaz, she is asking, sir, how we can focus our mind on one thing. It's basically, she is getting distracted with so many other things. So how to focus on one thing?
What is the distraction?
Distractions from other things. She wrote that sometimes when we study or writing anything, our focus get distracted and we focus on other things. That has not been mentioned. So how to manage ourselves?
Yeah, mostly if you just pay enough attention, then you won't get distracted. So if you're doing something, if you pay your full attention to that, then nothing will distract you. And this can be hard only if you're not very interested in doing what you're doing. So for example, when I was in this corporate job, I was not interested in doing the job, so I was not productive. I was not as productive as the other people. But when I'm in music, then since I like the job so much, I can work 12 hours a day or 13 hours a day and I don't feel tired or I don't feel distracted or anything, because I mean, small distractions are there, but overall, there's no major distraction which causes me to do something else and not do the job. So all I'm trying to say is that if you're really interested in something, then you'll pay enough attention, right? And if you pay enough attention, then um, uh, you'll be set. Like you'll have that focus very easily. You'll get that focus.
I'll take one more question from the YouTube live. Diana Marin is asking this question, and I hope there are similar kind of question. So it's about the creative practices.
Okay,
I can submit bottle paintings instead of paintings or rangoli. So
painting only, right? So yeah, you can submit.
yeah, I mean, the question, there are quite a lot of questions like this. Students even have called the faculty members also.
Okay.
Do they have to be strict with the guidelines provided by, for the submission, or they can have their own creativity?
Mostly you
Maybe
have to stick to the fields, like those seven fields of art forms are there, those mostly you can stick. But if it's some kind of painting, some other form of painting or something, then you can do that, and you can take a photograph of that and you can submit. So there's no issue that way.
Okay, that's very well. I think Joe Jason, he'd also unmuted. Can we can take
So,
a yes, Joe.
so yeah, my name is Joel. So, yes. So you said you're very interested in music. So
Yes.
when did you actually start the journey to the music to the person what you are now?
Person that I'm now is just nothing actually yet, but at least once the roadmap is set, then you can walk on that road, right? So I just set that roadmap. That's all. So that's where I am at right now. But if you ask how that started, then I always had interest. Like when I was 8 years old, I started learning the flute, and then I started like getting into Western classical, and then after that into electronic music, and like these things over time it just happened. So many things happened. So, but that doesn't matter actually. Like where anything started doesn't really matter because you're just adding up everything finally, right? So
So one more question.
yeah.
So like in the process, like is it part of the process that you feel so down, and do you panic yourself and throughout the process?
Now no panic, nothing at all. Now there's no panic.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, Navyashri, would you like to ask something?
So I have a question.
Uh, yes.
So when you said that you made this, when you shifted from a corporate job to music, like were there any, did you counsel with your friends also? Like, you said you counseled with your family mostly, but were there friends also involved, or was the decision taken just between you and your family?
It was just between me and my family. Friends, I never had really very great friends. Like I had mostly friends. I had two or three good friends, but the rest were just hi bye kind of friends, not really close relation like that. So these two or three friends, I didn't really contact much for this purpose. It was just family.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Sir,
Hi.
sir, I have another question, sir. Sir, my question is that, sir, I am asking from my friend's experience.
Yeah.
Sir, my friend has also suffered from depression, and he used to tell me, sir, that now nothing interests him. Even the things that he used to interest him, so like he has stopped drawing and writing stories. And sir, whenever he wrote poems, it was always dark, sir. It contents so were always dark. So sir, he was always like sitting there and thinking all the time, and he would not express it to anyone. Sir, so my question is that, sir, in these times when you are suffering from these things, so how to find purpose in your life, sir? Because when nothing interests, it will leave your mind hollow, and a hollow mind is very dangerous, I think. So my question is that, sir.
Yeah. So one hint is to pay close attention to what is being said in UHV. So if you attend all the sessions and then maybe read the book also,
Yes, sir.
and start exploring those things, then sooner or later you'll find something happening within you. And then if you want to go even deeper, then you go further into that, further into UHV, or then you go into yoga, you go into meditation, you go into all these things, and then uh, you'll become a little more calm inside. So once that happens, then everything looks better outside also. So if you're doing poetry or something, then
Yes.
automatically you'll start making poetry which is more beautiful because you're seeing the world in a different way. So that shift will start happening, but the process starts from within yourself, right? So to guide you so that you can make those shifts, UHV is a really beautiful tool. So if you can use that, or if you can motivate your friend to explore the proposals of UHV, then that would be really good. So you can suggest that to him maybe.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Arjun, am
Thank
I
you.
audible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, you are audible.
I I just have some questions from the chat box on the Zoom for Arjun. And all the questions are related to the peer pressure. In fact, there is a student, Ms. Konda Niharika. She says, if you got after completing engineering and not interested in a job, then I quit the job the parents forced to do. Then the similar question is from student Mrs. Safa Abdul Salam. Is BTech a good option? Actually, my family is disappointed by my decision. And there's a similar question from Sanket Devalaraju. I see that people, especially the Indian society, views the kids' GPA to judge the students. I believe that we should focus on the process rather than the outcome. Very true, in fact. But my family doesn't understand this. What do I do? It would be great if you could answer.
True. I think the main issue lies in this area of prosperity. I'll just go back to this.
Yeah.
Where was it? Here. Yeah. So over here you can see that mostly the issue happens with prosperity, as in once this proposal becomes clear of right understanding at the top and then relationship and then physical facility, once this placement becomes clear, then automatically the mindset shifts quite drastically. So automatically the things that you're paying maximum attention to, which is maybe at the job, automatically shifts to totally other things like this right understanding and relationship. So within the family, because of the preconditioning which may be there in the parents, on may or may not be there, but I'm just saying that based on the questions, it seems like the preconditioning of the job being more important than what it is, that is there. So to break that, the only solution is to try to explore that proposal of right understanding, relationship and physical facility, and then place them properly, and then find a job or do something which you like to do, which can also earn a good living. Not that you don't focus on the money, but you focus on the money only to the extent that it is required. And if you're able to communicate all this with the family and have this kind of a discussion, then there might be some outcome of that. And there might not be also. It depends totally on the preconditioning, how strong it is, and lots of other factors like the family income at that point of time, and if they feel that you're confident to do the other job or not. That's also a very important thing. Like if you decide to do, say, journalism or something else totally different, then the parents might be concerned that what if you don't make it in this field, what if you are not able to sustain, what if you don't have income. So these kind of questions will come up. So then all this has to be discussed and thought out before you make a decision like that. So keeping prosperity as the base, where you're feeling that you have more than required, that can be the starting point of the discussion, and then you can go into all these things and see. Yeah.
Sir, hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mukund,
Sir,
would you?
yeah. Sir, how did you manage your time during your engineering? And can just give me a hint, like how was your routine?
My routine was not so great at that time, but it was like um, we used to have 8 o'clock class. So sometimes I used to wake up at 7:45 and then go for 8 o'clock class by 8:05. Then sometimes I used to be outside because they used to not allow after 8:05. So all these things used to happen. And sometimes I used to reach on time, and I didn't have much interest also. I used to sit in the end and I used to write music notes, or I used to draw pictures in my notebook. I used to do all that. And um, I used to study also, and I did quite well also, but not very, very well. I was like 7 to 8, between 7 and 8, I was out of 10. But uh, that's how it was. So routine was not so great. So don't get inspired by that. If you're into engineering, if you're interested in the job, if you're interested in the field of engineering, then you won't do this kind of thing. Then you'll obviously do much better. Like my brother is very good at coding, and he did engineering totally different from how I did. And now he's gone for masters, and he's gone a different line, and he's doing really well in that. So yeah, it depends on you, and don't get inspired by a story like this, because otherwise you'll have to do music. You'll have to do music or dance or do something else. So do this kind of thing only if you have confidence in doing this stuff also this way.
Sir, and how did you manage your stress, anxiety or just by writing your music you
No,
managed it, or what?
no, not by writing music. Music helped to do a few things, but then mainly it was through the UHV proposals, and then also meditation and yoga, and also discussion with the family, and also YouTube videos, and um, all this put together.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, Rishikesh.
So what are your goals as of now? Like, what are your current goals?
Current goals in terms of what? In terms of business, or like in terms of net revenue of the company, or like what?
Yeah, sir. In every aspect, be it your music work, and be it your company. Yes, in every aspect.
Um, the main target, I would say, is freedom. So that
Okay.
freedom is so that you're able to have a job which sustains your normal living and expenses and all that, and you're free to do what you want to do. So you do that with responsibility, and you do that with your own passion and all that. So that is the goal. So
Okay.
so like, for example, if you're doing music and you're in the studio from morning to night, and you're doing music for other people, like so many clients are there, so much of work is there and all that you're doing, and you don't have time for your family, you don't have time for doing your own stuff, you don't have time for expressing your own thoughts through your own music. If it's that case, then you're getting enough income, but then you don't have a life outside of that, right? So then you don't have freedom to spend the time the way you want to spend it. So my goal is to have freedom to spend time the way I want to spend it, and do something with the music, try to express all these things through music, and then you know let the company grow as it's growing, not really hasten that or slow it down, just let it go at its own pace. And the focus is the freedom, basically, and that gives you happiness also in the long run.
Right, Rishikesh?
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Varshini, please.
Yeah.
Was this
We
your
can't hear you, dear.
childhood ambition,
Varshini,
or
your network is a
when
little
Yes,
after
disturbing.
you
this.
entered college, you
Yeah, you
wanted
can.
to do music?
Varshini,
I,
can you
I
repeat
couldn't
the
get the
question?
question.
Now, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yeah, it's better. Please
Yeah.
come again. Varshini, we are waiting for you.
Now, can you hear me, ma'am?
जी बेटा बोलिए.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Uh, I think there's some technical issue and we really cannot hear.
You can put the question in the chat, maybe.
Yes.
Easier.
Was
Meanwhile,
this
I'll.
your childhood ambition, or else after you entered college, you wanted to do something in the field of music?
That's clear now.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I figured it out after a long time. So I didn't know when I was in college. When I was in school, I didn't know if I'm what college, what subject. I had no idea. So I was saying, right, that I was always confused. So that was how it was. I was confused about which stream to take. Then when I was in college, then I was confused about job. Then like that, I was always confused. But then um, after some point, you realize that it doesn't matter so much. It's just over evaluated in the society. All these things. It doesn't matter as much as you might think it matters. And and what I did is not so important actually. Like what you are going to do is more important, right? So think about that.
Thank you, sir.
Arjun, there's a question for you. Participants want to know what happened when you chose music over your job, and what happens in case you fail in your new approach.
Any other questions based on them rather than
Well,
because on this it's like a never
yes.
ending discussion, right? This will keep going. So
Uh,
rather let's ask questions on um,
Daydreaming.
like on any of these things, um, how they can implement some of the proposals, or how they can fix some of the issues in their on their
So,
side, or that
Vijay,
kind of stuff.
Well,
Vijay
there's a
asking
question, Arjun. Yes, Minudi, if there's a question, you can just put up. Otherwise, there's a question in the chat. I can just read it out.
Didi, Vijay is asking about time management to Mr. Arjun.
Yes, please, go ahead. Go ahead.
Time management.
Yeah. What's the question?
They wanted to know about time
How do you
management.
manage your time?
Like my routine now you're asking, or like what?
Any advice that you'd like to give?
How do you manage to balance your music with your other commitments?
Music is the only commitment, right? That's my job now.
Thanks, Arjun.
We can have Professor Fatima Basitha, Professor Fatima, a faculty. Professor Fatima, you have the mic, you can unmute yourself. Or Aditya N.
You can ask questions based on your situation. Like if I can help to answer something about your situation, or what's happening in your on your side of things, then that would be
Yes,
nice,
sir.
because knowing about this is a never ending thing, and you can just ask all this on Instagram. This is not really relevant for today's thing. Like today, like mostly I just gave the story just to free up things, and just to give a little bit of background, so that you can ask your own questions based on your life, so that we can try to help and solve and discuss those issues.
Yes, sir, I wanted to ask a question about myself actually.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm not able to solve any question, then I burst into tears at what will I do in future and like blah blah something. Um, I become anxious and I just get so nervous at what will happen in future, and so it's my childhood habit actually. So what to do?
So what is the worst thing that can happen in that scenario?
Sir, I mess up in my exams. My teachers always tell my mother that she she does very good in class, and what happens in the exam? Like in physics exam, in boards I correctified it, but in boards I got 88 marks out of 100 in 12th boards, but in the first semester, in the first term, I scored only passing marks. So this is what happens when I get nervous. So how to overcome this nervousness?
The best way is to not take it so seriously. I also faced the same kind of thing. Like when I was in college, we had basketball matches, and I was the captain of the team, and I used to really think that we should do well. I used to always go with this feeling that we should do well, and we should do very well, and we should win also, was the thing. But mainly it was that we should do well, and because of that I had my own pressure that I had built up, which says that I have to do well, I have to do well, this kind of thing. And
Yes,
then when you go to the court and you start playing, then if you have this kind of feeling that you have to do well, you have to do well, then you can't focus on the game. So same here, that if you're thinking that you have to do well in the exam, you have to do well in the exam. If you're getting these kind of thoughts during the exam, then it'll be hard to do well, because you'll be focusing on these thoughts rather than the subject of the exam.
yes. So this is what happens with me in the examination. Like in maths exam, there was no any question which I didn't know how to solve in the 12th board examination. But a simple matrices question I couldn't solve that, and just because of nervousness.
Yeah, so that's one of the key issues, that it is because of that. And also, if you're more comfortable discussing these things with your parents also, then it will help for them to realize that this is your issue, and it's not to do with the subject as such, it's more to do with this thing. So
Yes,
once you discuss that, then it'll be easier for them to get that.
yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Arjun, there's a question in
Hello.
the chat box from Dhiman SR. What is the difference between a goal and a dream?
Hello, sir. Hello.
What is it for you actually?
It's in the chat box.
Actually, don't know exactly dreams. Like, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Goal is much more better than a dream, I guess, because when you have a goal, you actually start working for it. But when you dream, you just keep dreaming, and
Yeah, so it depends on what you really want to do, right? So if you have a dream, like you get dreams all the time, right? Like when you're sleeping also you get dreams. But
Hello.
if you're talking about a kind of thing that you aspire for, then if you're talking about that as a dream, then you just look at how you go ahead and how you know go on to achieve that dream. So you don't think about whether it'll happen or not. You start thinking only about how to get it done. And a goal is one of those steps to reach to that place, right? So it's like one step in the process. And finally, your dream will also include being happy, right? Because whatever you're doing is anyway to be happy. So your dream will include that also.
Oh, okay, sir. I just had like one more quick question for you. Can we maintain like two jobs at once, like say both music and engineering,
Yeah, you
or
can, of course.
like
But
really stressful and stuff?
but of course you have limited time, so you will have to split the time in between, like into those two things. But there are so many people who are doing both things, and to start with, it's a very good option because then one job funds the other thing. And like say you're doing music and engineering, then if you're able to get an engineering job, then that will fund your studio expenses and your whatever expenses you have for making the music, and for like all your music expenses will be funded by the other job. So that's a nice way to do it. Only issue with that is that you have limited time, so you'll have less time to spend on the music. But that is good financially in the starting at least, because you have some financial support for that. So in that way it's good.
But like, can we excel in both of them? Like, can we like take it to the next level?
Yeah, you can. The only difference between somebody who does it full time and somebody who does it part time is the amount of time that you have, right? So other than that, there's no other difference. The time and the money that you get from the other job. I mean, the time that you lose from the other job and the time and the money that you get from the other job. That's the only difference.
There's
Okay.
one child, Sanket. He has written something that this is probably my number, no issues. Isn't it journey before destination? Then why does GPA come in? It shouldn't matter, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter that much actually. Like say your GPA, it might matter for your first or second job, and then after that it might not matter, right? Because after that they'll see the experience that you did, the experience and the work that you did in the previous job. So after one or two jobs, that GPA doesn't matter as much.
Okay, there's one more child, Abhijit. He says, "Do you think we should not take others' opinion during following our passion?"
Mm, you can split this into two or three things. Like one is the technical side of things. Like if you're seeing how well it is technically, then you can take an opinion, like how the sound quality is and how the music structure is, or the structure of your work and all. You can take opinions on all that, but take opinions from people who are good at that field, not the audience opinion. And audience opinion you can take for general likability, or general impressions of that thing. So it's up to you whether to take the opinions or not. Like if you want to just be completely independent to express yourself and you're sure of what you're expressing, then opinions won't matter. And if you're taking opinions and they're kind of pulling you down or pushing you up, then there's a problem with that also, because then you don't know where you are at. So opinions have both sides to them.
Very nice. Akshay Ahuja, would you like to say something? Or would you
Yes,
like to ask?
ma'am.
Please
Hello.
go ahead. Go ahead, Akshay.
Sir, I want to ask that how to come out of some type of addiction we have, like addiction with the mobile. We are wasting much of the time in it and we are not focusing on our goal.
So mostly that happens because the goal is not felt to be as important at that point of time. So, for example, if your goal is to become an engineer, but you're more attracted towards, say, the mobile phone, then obviously the mobile phone will happen. Because if you're focused, if you're really interested in the engineering branch or the thing that you're taking, then your focus will automatically go there. So it's very simple that your all your attention goes towards what you think is more important at that point of time. So if you're into the mobile and then you're feeling that you shouldn't be doing that, then one way to do it is to cut it at that point and say that, okay, this is not important for me right now. So I won't do this right now.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, Miss.
Hello.
Yes, Manas.
Yes, sir. I have just a small question for you. Sir, I'm also into music. I'm into instrument playing and singing occasionally, and I want this to keep going along with my engineering. Any tips from your side for me to keep this going along with my engineering with good grades, I guess?
First of all, join the clubs in the college. The music club will be there. There'll be some kind of activities and all going on in the club. So be active in that. That's one thing. That way you can stay in touch with the music and you can perform. And they'll be having like lots of events, right? Like shows and all that within the college, within like in the auditorium or wherever they have. So first of all, you can be very active in that. And second, keep studying music theory, keep studying all that stuff, and keep making music or keep like stay active within that. And you can balance engineering and music when you're in college very easily. So it's not difficult at all.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
my question is that if
There's a lot of
somebody,
noise somewhere.
The background noise is there. I'll try to. Yes. Uh, yes, Charumati, you may ask a question. Meanwhile, I'll
sir,
mute the rest of the.
sir,
Yeah.
sir, if somebody comes and tells you that you are their role model or inspiration, what would be your advice to them?
mm, I don't know like what it means actually. Like, are you saying
Someone comes and tells you that you are an inspiration to them or as a role model, what would your advice be to them?
no, my question is, who is a role model to who?
If a student comes and asks, tells you that the student's role model is you,
Oh, that hasn't happened much, but but what do I do then?
what would your advice be to them?
Uh, Role model actually doesn't like what exactly in that person inspired you can see, and based on that you can you know learn from that, learn that skill or that kind of behavior or that kind of thinking, or you can pick up something from that person that way. But on a whole you can see that like no one is perfect as such. So uh, calling the whole person your role model makes it a little bit skewed, because that person has so many flaws also, right? So rather you can just pick up the good stuff, and everyone has some good stuff, so you can pick up from everyone. So why only keep it to one person or two people? You can pick up the good stuff from everyone.
So thank you, sir.
Very well. Radhika's asking, so how to get rid of shyness?
That is a big one. That is because like I think shyness comes because of few reasons. One is that you're not able to relate to the other person, as in you feel that the other person is different and you're different, and we don't match. So if you don't match, then you feel shy to express. That's one thing. And then the second thing is that you care a lot about the other person's opinion about you. So say you're going to say something, but then you think twice, because you think, what if that person thinks that this person is asking me something, and these kind of things come up. So in fact, about this I wrote a post on Instagram 2 or 3 days back about this exact same thing, because I've been through all this. So then I felt like sharing that. So you can check that out as well. But in a nutshell, it's just that. It's just that you have to like just expand your view and like try to relate to more people. Try to feel like we're all one, rather than feeling that I'm separate and you're separate. And also try to you know not focus on what other people think about you, because what other people think about you is not really relevant. It doesn't change who you are. So thinking about that doesn't have any relevance as such.
Very well. There's another question posted by Janity Divya. She says, if I'm passionate about my hobby and really want to make it into a living, how do I know if I should go for it?
How do you know? As in, you'll have to figure out the whole thing over time, and
Hello, sir.
initially you might not have it figured out. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, was that Dr. Leena Patnaik or
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
uh,
ma'am.
yes,
Ma'am.
please go ahead. Would you like to know something?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Please go
Ma'am,
ahead.
just wanted to ask, sir, from that universal UHP that we have been doing, anxiety. Anxiety actually arouses from because we are anxious to please, to make everyone happy around us. So, is it right? Because trying to make everyone so, sir, that's what my question is.
Couldn't get the second half of the question.
So I said that, is it right that because we have been doing that, we have to have everyone happy around us. Happiness is something that is required around us. So that anxiety which comes within me, because I am anxious to please everyone around me, but in the long run, I am the one who is unhappy.
Right. I was also in this phase for quite some time. So what happens is that when you're trying to please everyone,
Yes,
then like if your attempt is to please everyone, then it'll always be a fail because everyone is not at the same level of evolution. Like everyone doesn't think the same way, and
yes,
everyone
sir.
doesn't have the same set of likes and dislikes and tastes and all that, so when you try doing that, then it will be a fail. And if that is the source of happiness which you're trying to derive happiness from, then
Yes,
that
sir.
will never work, and then you'll always be unhappy because someone or the other will not accept you like that, and then
Yes, sir.
you'll feel like
So then what to do? Because then again we feel that yes, we have failed making people around me happy. As you said, there are shortcomings. I know,
yes,
but
yes.
then I find two to three people who are not happy around me. Then I feel in the long run when I'm there in the night all alone, I feel I have failed in my mission to make people happy. So that comes within us.
Yeah, so one way people do it is to just have a very isolated small group of people who they relate to, and then they are within that group only, and then they don't go outside that. So within that group they make the people happy, and then
So I
they
have
don't go outside
15
that.
members in my family.
No, I'm just giving you one
Yes, sir.
one thing. So one way of doing it is that way, which is very limiting because
Yes, sir.
it doesn't give you proper satisfaction, and at the same time it's like putting yourself into one bubble kind of.
Yes, sir.
So that doesn't really work. I'm just showing, like, just sharing all the possibilities. So that is one possibility, and then
Yes, sir.
another way of looking is that where you're trying to make everyone happy, but then you also know the competence of other people. You also know that everyone has the same intention to be happy, but they don't have the
Okay.
competence. So
Yes,
if
sir.
you look at this, every time that you try to make someone happy, you
Hmm.
can you can always look at this, that your intention is to make the other person happy. The other
Yes,
person's
sir.
intention is to be happy.
Yes,
But
sir.
if the other person doesn't have the competence to be happy,
Yes, sir.
then and you have, suppose you also don't have,
Hmm.
then there's another issue there. But I'm just
Yes.
saying, suppose you have the competence but the other person doesn't have, then you can help the other person to get that competence.